Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Talking Habs, Saturday Hockey Talk Live, where we talk about anything and everything Habs, hockey, and life, with your host, Rick Selly. Go Habs, go, and let's talk hockey. The road to the 25th Cup is under construction. Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome in to Talking Habs. All right, Saturday Hockey Talk. There's stuff to talk about. The draft happened. Trying to think now. It wasn't this Friday. Last Friday. Free agency day was last Monday. Habs weren't that busy in that, but we can talk about the draft. We can talk about the signing. Habs did make a signing on free agency day, and it was a good one. And anything else that you guys might want to talk about, the new draft picks. I know a little bit more about them now, a little bit, and some of them not much. It's hard to find info on a couple of them. I can talk about them a little bit. Development camp ended yesterday. There was a scrimmage game that was broadcast on the Habs, YouTube channel, which I didn't know it was going to be broadcast there. I thought it was going to be on RDS. That's why I didn't do the game. And then I found it, I'd say about 20 minutes into the first period. So I watched that. Then we can talk about that. So if you are here, say hi. Let me know that you're here and ask away any questions you might want to know. And we'll get into it that way. How's that? So I see there are some people here. Wonder Phil is here. First one. Hey, Wonder Phil. Hey, Phil. How's it going? Leon. Hey, Leon. I just read Habs have the best prospects. Are they considered the best prospect team with the best prospects? If they're not the best, they're got to be right up there, though, right? So I hadn't read that yet. I don't know. I'm not sure where that you got it from, but I don't disagree with it. Phil says, kind of happy about the draft. Kind of disappointed we didn't placate the media and draft a Q player. Very happy with the Slaf signing. It's instantly good. We didn't draft a Q player? What's Michael Hage? He might not have been in the queue, but I mean, he's just as. I mean, if that's not as close to a Quebecois player, I don't know. His family's all from here. He speaks French. I don't know. And I would say instead of saying that, that they didn't placate the media, shouldn't it be more like is there something wrong in the queue that they don't have enough guys that qualify to be picked that high? They only had one. Sacha Boisvert was the only one that got picked that high. So, and why should we placate the media? You know what? The funny thing is, all those media, they speak English. They have no problem speaking to the players that don't speak French. So what's the problem? I know. Let's not get into it. Let's see. Third best. That's what I thought, actually, Phil. It was third best in the league. So I didn't know there was if there was a new ranking out, I didn't know. But yeah, they found ways to write articles that didn't ignore the queue for the 7th time in history. For the what? I'm not sure where you're going there. I can puck with media all I want. Depends who posting that. You get. Yeah, no, that's right. I think a lot of people consider Montreal that, but I don't think any official rankings have them as one. But last I saw was third. So, draft just happened. Maybe that'll change after this draft, right? I mean, now Demidov, we got some serious prospects. Habs prospect pool among best in entire NHL. That was published 10 hours ago. By Mark Dumont. He's a pretty good writer. But yeah, they're right up there. If they're not the best, they're in the top 3. Third behind Anaheim and Chicago for obvious reasons. But like I said, though, right now we got Demidov. That might make a second, first, might even. Doesn't matter. I'm happy to be in the top 3. It's not a problem for me. So what do you guys think of the drafts, the picks? Habs drafted 10 draft picks. Started with Ivan Demidov, who, I mean, everybody knows about Ivan Demidov. I do have a little bit about him, so here, this is from McKean's magazine. It's just short, so Demidov is an electrifying presence on the ice because he drives play with an abundance of skill, smarts, confidence, and determination. He's hard to defend because he can leave an impact in a multitude of different ways. And even when it looks like he's completely covered or neutralized, he can pull another trick out from under his sleeve and keep the play alive in a way that nobody else saw coming. NHLers Nikita Kucherov and Kirill Kaprizov have this aura to them that often causes opposing defenders to freeze and second-guess their next move because the defenders know that even the smallest of mistakes can become catastrophic. And you can see that Demidov has something like that as well. You know what? I'm reading that, and I'm reminded of Lane Hudson as well. And we even saw the proof of that against Detroit, where he literally backed, veteran players off because they didn't know what he was going to do. And that's very similar. And having a guy like that up front, a guy like that on the back end, it can, I dare say I'm probably going to be proven wrong in my wanting Ginla over Demidov. I'm hoping. I still have my little concerns, but they're little. This kid's going to be electrifying. That's what I'm saying. Let's see. Anybody else ask me a question? Super happy about Koivu. I am too. I don't know that Koivu, that Ados will make the team at any point necessarily. But I love the pick just for the this Koivu's kid. I do think he's got a shot though to make the NHL and make the team. He's got some work to do to get there. It's not a guy that you're going to look at next year and say he's going to make it. He might not even be at training camp at this point. He's a few years down the road, but I love the pick that it gets Saku back into the Habs family actively, kind of, right? They've got they named a new, I don't know if it's a scout or a guy that's running the scouts in Europe. And he's going to be situated right in Saku's hometown. I believe that's where, or wherever Ados is right now, maybe playing. So they're going to have a Habs guy right there. It's going to be great. I think it's going to be great. Does he make Montreal, though? That's a bit of a project, but I mean, he definitely could. Today I went to a church bazaar. I say bizarre. It is bazaar, but I say bizarre because, to me always, at this day and age, when people go to church, it's bizarre to me. But that's just me. And I had church hot dogs for a couple of bucks. You better be careful. And a grilled cheese, super neat. So many old people just hanging out, selling antiques. Yeah, the antiques are selling the antiques. That's how it works, man. Did you tell the story because it's old people and I'm old? Like, I'm just wondering. Never know. Okay, we got Michael Hage. Michael Hage. This stream is supposed to be about the dev camp. And it will be a bit, right? Michael Hage at the Dev Camp was the best player. Should he have been the best player? Yes. And I'm happy that he was, but he was good. It's funny because I'm writing, I'm doing a report card for the draft picks, right? My grades on whatever. So I'm at number 2. So I'm just starting writing these little bios. It's not going to be a long video. And I got Michael Hage, and I just put his, stats. And I'm starting to write it. I'll give you a little, let's see if I can. Right. So I just got Michael Hage forward, and I give my grade. And I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. And I look up on the screen, and Michael Hage gets the puck and scores. I was like, wow, what timing is that? It's like beautiful. So I wrote, as I write this, Hage scores a goal at the Dev Cap scrimmage game. And then as I look up from writing that, he then assists on a goal like 30 seconds later, and just looks great. And then I'm watching for another 30 seconds or so, and they get another goal, third goal in like 2 minutes and whatever. And I didn't think it was him, and I don't know who got the goal exactly, but I see the line skate off, and he's on that line. So he was on for part of 3 goals in like 2 minutes. Now it's Dev Camp, but I mean, he looked really good, and he should have looked really good. Like, that's the guy you expected and everyone expected to do it, and he did. And I like this kid. I just thought it was funny that as I'm writing his little bio, he does that. Is that an omen maybe for the future with him? I don't know. But Hage looks like I'd never heard of him till maybe like a week before, 2 weeks before the draft. Never looked into him or anything like that. Mostly because it was going to be a little bit later in the round, and I was concentrating on top 15 or 16. It's a pick I really like. Out of nowhere, they got this kid who his grandparents are from Montreal. His parents are from Montreal. He was born and raised in Toronto. I'm not sure what the reason is. He's got tons of family here. He learned French in grade school, and he speaks a decent French. It's a little rusty, but he speaks French. This is a great pick for Montreal. He's got second line center potential. He scores. He makes plays. Last season, I think in 50 some odd games, he had 75 points, 33 goals. 33 goals and I think 42 assists is how I think it was. He's fast, carries the puck well, especially carrying the puck from the defensive zone into the offensive zone. That's something he does well. Like, he's a really good player. So yeah, I like Hage a lot. And that's the second guy on the list that they picked at number 21. I think their target when they moved up to 21 was Michael Hage. Now you're all going to think in there, no Yzerman. And you're not wrong. But I think what they were planning to do, if they could, was move from 21 and try to move into probably from 15 to 20, somewhere in there, and grab Yzerman. I don't think they expected him to drop to 20. And he did, but he got picked at 20. But I believe Hughes when he said their target when they traded up to 21 was Hage, in this way, that if they couldn't get Yzerman and move up to get him, that Hage would be the guy that they would pick at 21. And a great pick so far. Time will tell, of course, but he looks like a really good, solid pick. A kid who really wants to be here in this organization. That's big. If you look at Demidov, I think Demidov wanted to be picked by Montreal. He hasn't said that, and now at this point, if he says it, you can take it with a grain of salt or not. I don't know. I think he did want to be picked by Montreal. He didn't say he was. I think as part of his character, he didn't want to say who he wanted. But the signs seem to point to Montreal. He's here. Great pick. He wants to be here. Hage wants to be here. Koivu's kid wants to be here. That's a big thing when you're picking kids that want to be, on your team. So I think a really good job. Farther down, they didn't have their next pick was 4th round. So farther down, maybe it's not, the same. I think they took some swings. Whether they'll be hits or not, I don't know. They took some chances, some risk there. But you know what? Their prospect pool is what it is, right? So they could afford to take those risks on guys that might seem risky, but if they do hit, could be really good. And I think that's where they went, which I'll get into when I do my video. But you can ask me anything you want about that. I don't know a ton about all these guys. It was hard to find, the very last picks. It wasn't as easy to find info on them. So one of the kids, I just got some highlights, which you'll see. Stuff like that, anyway. Let's see now. What am I missing here? So, Rick, you didn't know Lane and Bro's half Canadian? No, Leon told me something the other day in a comment that Lane and, the Hudson kids, their grandfather is half Canadian. Is that it? Father or grandfather? Father, I think, actually. And if the father's half Canadian, that means these kids have a chance at Canadian citizenship right there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that means anything overall and how good he's going to be. But, it's a nice little touch. The old people reminded you of me? Well, listen, can I do? From what you're reading, Hage is a surprise to have fallen that low. I didn't read all about that. What I did read is that he was thought to potentially be a top 10 pick at one point, but I think other guys climbed and passed him. I think that's what happened, but I think a lot of scouts, there were people anyway that thought he could have made the top 10. It's a good talent. They got him at 21. I think it's a really good pick. Okay, Phil says, "Old man Rick, in the spirit of July, can you tell us about the kind of garage sales that existed back then for nuclear power and all? Garage sales back when now? Depends what you're talking about. I don't really remember as a kid seeing garage sales. That's more in my adult years. Garage. What do you expect a garage sale to be? People selling their used, sometimes junk, sometimes good stuff. Yeah, when I was a kid, I don't remember garage sales being a thing. So, okay, so Leon says their dad is a full Canadian-born person. All right, so they're half Canadian, and that means that they are actually, from how I know actually how it works, as long as one of their parents is Canadian, they're Canadian. They might not have their Canadian citizenship, like in their wallet, but all they have to do is apply for that, and they'll get it. Their Canadian citizenship is just awaiting them. A sweet summer child. Was I a summer child? Well, I was born in February, so. You know what? Growing up in Quebec, in Montreal, I want to say I kind of might have more like memories, or at very least equal winter ones to summer ones, to be very honest. We did a lot of stuff in the winter too. I grew up at a time where kids played outside. It didn't matter if it was winter or summer, we were outside. So it's probably why I stay inside so much. I don't know what you wrote there. Some kind of juice? Sanguinis and Soli. What is that? Me, I'm just a regular juice. I like probably right now I got pineapple juice in here. That's the kind of juice I am. What's sanguinis? Or Soli? It's Italian, I think. All right. Is there anybody else here too? Or just, I don't mind talking just with Phil, but are we entertaining enough? Citizenship based on birth in territory or blood. Ah, well, you put solely. You didn't put soil. Okay. That's why I am a dual citizen. I was born in the U.S. to Canadian parents. So while I do have an American birth certificate, I have a Canadian citizenship as well. Working in an immigration firm was inspiring. You worked in an immigration firm? No, I learned this actually. I always thought I was just a landed immigrant, and I had to go do whatever to get my citizenship. How I know this is my cousin, American cousin, but her mom is my mom's sister, and so she's born here in Montreal. She moved here. Oh God, how long is it? 6 years ago? 7 years ago. We took this apartment together originally. And then she got her Canadian citizenship, which was just there for her. She just had to apply. They had to confirm everything. Boom, boom, boom. So that's how I know. Same thing for me. I haven't actually done it, but because I'm lazy. But I mean, I'm both because I vote and all that, and I'm a citizen. The government never. I always say I'm a citizen. They don't go, oh, you're an immigrant, And now I know why they've never called me on it. Is that because I'm a citizen? I just haven't actually gone and applied and say, hey, I want the official paperwork, and 2 weeks later I get it. That's pretty much how it would work. So, as do you, Rick. I'm half Yankee through you're half Yankee through your dad? Yeah, I don't know how that works over there. I'm not half. I was born there, so one of those nepo babies. Basically, that's what I am. I'm a nepo baby because my parents were not citizens. That my dad was working there on a visa. I was born there. My brother was born there as well, and that's it. So that's how I got my American citizenship. We came back to Canada. I was 4.5, and I've been here ever since. So. But that's how I got my American citizenship. Do I want to keep it? Am I ever going to go back there? I don't plan to ever go back there. Couldn't care less if I kept it or gave it back. Except they charge you like probably just $3,000 now to give up your American citizenship. So I'm not spending $3,000 just to tell them fuck you. I can just tell them fuck you, and that's it. Dual is the word. We're dual citizens. I'm a dual citizen, and so is Leon. I would think, if that's the case. The border's open. Just walk in. No, it's not. Who are you listening to that the border's just open? I know that there's spots, obviously, through the fields and stuff, but no, that's not what they mean by open border, by the way. They mean by policy, not by actual. It only helps you with border crossing. I don't have a passport, so I can't even go there anyway. Yeah, when I was younger and I used to go sometimes, or I was a delivery guy. I deliver sometimes to the border towns. Yeah, very easy to get in and out because I'm an American. I'd have had to done something really bad for them not to let me in. Like I have to have a record over here, something really bad. I don't know, for them to say no because I'm a citizen. Even now they can't really turn me away. But I don't have a passport. If I got my passport, then they can't really turn me away. I don't have a record here. I don't have any problems here. I don't have any problems over there. They can't turn me away. Do I want to go though? No. I don't know about now, but when I used to go, yeah, it used to be really easy. They ask you a couple of questions, you're through. And when you come back in, I used to go like almost on a daily basis for a courier company. just to go bring stuff to back. It's a long time ago, back before FedEx. We had it here. We didn't have FedEx here. Had to go meet the FedEx truck. Not in Plattsburgh. It was in just across the border. I used to, I had a marked car for the company I was working, and it was like in and out. So what I used to do is go before I'd meet the truck, because we had to wait. I drive like 10 miles to this little strip mall. It had a variety store that they sold booze, and I had taken orders from friends. What do you want? Blah, blah. I get like 5-6 bottles under the seat. Put the thing down, and then I go across, and they didn't ask and they didn't check me or anything because they saw me all the time, and I used to do that a lot. Today you can't do that because you get caught, you're in trouble. Then you weren't getting caught back in those days. We often let, in the past, pre 9/11, I guess, just go right through, just drive on, stop 15th or 20th car randomly. No, they give you a few questions, but I mean, it's the same as just, but they ran your plate. I mean, I think that's what they did, right? Maybe when I was a kid, they couldn't do that, or they looked on a list. And what you're talking about is at random every day, they'd have a different thing, like a red car. They'd pull all the red cars, or certain things, and they'd pull no matter what. If you're match that, they'd pull you over to check you. It was basically like that, but they still ask a few questions. We diverted from hockey to how to cross the border at Lacal. I don't know. That has to do with Saturday hockey talk, but I am trying to think of the last time I was across the border. Man, 20 odd years. Those were the days, my friend. We thought they'd never end. Theme song from All in the Family. Okay, yeah, that is true. Not what I sang though. I know that song, but I'm not going to sing it here. I used to when I was younger. I could even sort of do like Edith's voice when she did her. I don't know what you call it. What she. I used to be able to sing it anyway. Are we talking soccer? I don't really care. I mean, I'd be happy. I don't know anything about soccer. Can't talk about it. Not really going to talk about it. But hey, Canada, they'll get beat by the next team. From what I understand. Let's see, what do I got? I got nothing really. There's not really any news out. One thing, if you want to talk about our wonderful captain Nick Suzuki, did you notice how he took part in the dev camp? Gallagher as well. Gallagher and Suzuki. Actually, this is something that Hage said about it. We can talk about that right here. So Nick Suzuki and Brendan Gallagher, have spoken to us before we get on the ice. It's good to hear what they have to say. You listen and just try to implement what they tell you. Both guys are out there helping in the drills and stuff like that, taking shots on goalies, stuff like that. Really good to see. And apparently, from what I was reading, Nick Suzuki is going to be consulted when they make trades and stuff like that. They're actually going to talk to Nick Suzuki and get his input. I really like that. And I don't know that I like that about all captains we've had or whatever, but there's you got the intelligent ones. No, but there's a few, like, I like that they want to have their input because, if I think with personality and how they'll fit in the room and all that, I think that captain should have an input there maybe. And might be have important information for them to help make a decision on. Anyway, this is what I heard. I don't know if you guys heard of that. You want to talk about it? What else? We can talk about this. Your Slafkovsky. We haven't really had a chance, I don't think, to talk about it, but his 8-year, $7.6 million AAV contract. What a wonderful deal that is. Like, that's just amazing. An amazing deal. Having that top line all signed up for, I think Suzuki now is 6 years more or 7. I'm not sure, but for long term like that, under $8 million. Imagine in 3-4 years with the cap going up, those contracts are going to look like, wow, steals. So that's really great news right there. We can discuss this. Hugh's saying it's free agency time, right? So we won't do something for a short-term gain at the expense of our long-term plan. If we commit too long into the future to a free agent and end up blocking a young player from moving their way up, then we're doing a disservice to what we're trying to accomplish. So anybody out there not happy that they didn't sign anybody, and maybe they won't, there's the reason why. Basically because they don't really need to. They've got guys that can fill in that, like this year, Joshua Watt can play on a wing on the second line and, take a spot, hold a place for Demidov. I don't know where Demidov's going to slot, first or second line, probably second line first year, and then we'll see from there. And I think Joshua Watt could use the experience. I think we should take a look at him there, for the season. So we got guys that, the best prospect pool. We don't need free agents now. Now's not the time to get a free agent. Still not the time. It's coming, but it's not the time now. We can talk about that. Oh, there's comments there. Okay, I'll shut up now. Let's see. Where was I? Don't want to talk about that. I keep cutting my Target demo in half. What, with the soccer? No soccer? How could I talk about soccer? I never really watched the game or liked the game or know anything about the goddamn game. I'm going to talk about it. Is that what you mean? Otherwise, I don't know what you mean. Slaf's contract could be a bargain or bust move. I get it. It's not like it's 3-4 years of seeing a progression and blah, blah, blah. I get that. And you could be right. It's not that you're totally off the mark. I just, I don't see him being a bust at this point. I see only forward progression. Kid's got a ton of talent. All the signs point to it. So I'm not really worried about that. But I mean, the possibility is there still, of course. Which makes it even better that, if that does happen, that he wasn't signed to even higher than that. Because, if he has a huge year this next season, they weren't signing him to that little. Right? So it was a good move. Gallagher was MVP, and still today, I wouldn't trade him. He's the perfect role model, the best example. He's perfect. Well, I mean, it's probably why he wears an A, and it's probably why he's still here, right? No, listen, I think you're 100% spot on with Gallagher. I never had a problem with him that way. Never had a problem with him that way. And, more proof that even though he's from out west, the Habs logo is tattooed to his heart. He's a guy that's, he's fully invested in the Montreal Canadiens, and so are they in him with that big contract. And I get that, but man, he's given a lot to this team. 7.6. Well, it's usually said 8 times 7.6. Yes, it is very good. Like, that's a really sweet contract. I know a lot of people thought he'd get less even or sign for less years, but if they wait, it's going to cost them a lot more than that. Like, seriously. If they wait next year, I think Slaf could possibly be looking at like 70-point area. If they wait and he does that, they're not getting him at 7.6. Even though he doesn't really care about the money, and he said that, he just wants to be here. He's got an agent, and the agent cares about the money. And he's going to make 9. And that's a big difference. So maybe 9.5 potentially at his age with those kind of numbers. I think it's too early to pay somebody that much, but you wait longer, it's going to cost more. It doesn't just look okay now. That's a great deal now, and it'll be even that much better every year that passes and the cap goes up. J-Fed. Hey, J-Fed, heard Marchessault turned down an offer from Montreal. I heard this too. I didn't hear any details. More money per year, but Nashville offered more term. Oh, that makes sense. Montreal, listen, they got 5 years over there. I think Montreal, if they were going to, or if they still do, sign a free agent like that, you're looking at 1, maybe 2 years, right? Marchessault signed 5 years times 5.5. Of course he turned it down here. Couldn't blame him for a second. Plus, Nashville did some wonderful things in the offseason, or in the free agency so far. And they're like, if not just a playoff team, potentially a contender. Potentially, don't come down on me on that, but they made some really good signings over there in Nashville with Stamkos, and I'm trying to think who the other guy is. Stamkos and a couple other, Marchessault and somebody else. Some really good signings over there. That's an improved team, big time. But not surprised he turned down what Montreal offered. I'm sure they didn't offer 5.5 and at most 2 years, I would think. Maybe a 3, but no more than that. Mailloux is likely to make the team. And not be sent to Laval. Jonathan Kovacevic trade looks like a spot is open for him. You could be right. Depends on his camp. I'm going to go as far as saying I think Reinbacher and Mailloux start the season in Laval. I think Hudson starts in Montreal. But, depending on the camp they have. That's where I'm going to go. Guy Lafleur, rolling in his grave, 20-year-old multimillionaire, just saying, I know the eras are different, but who are we talking about? Who's the 20-year-old multimillionaire? Are we talking about the kids? Yeah, but listen, different era. Money was different. I don't disagree with you, but I saw Lafleur's last contract with Montreal. I delivered it. Not to him. How did I deliver that? I delivered Mark Napier's last one. How did I see Guy Lafleur's? Oh man, I don't know how I saw it, but it was in that time, and I saw it was $250,000. His last one for Montreal. But in that era, that's what they were making. But yeah, it's crazy now. The money it's insane, the money. Is Kovalev going to be our power play coach? I haven't heard anything, and if you haven't heard about it, I did come prepared in this way. So Alex Burrows will not be back with the Canadiens coaching staff next season. He's staying on as a consultant. He's given the reason as spending time with his family, needs to do more of that. That usually means he's been pushed out somewhat, and they've given him the dignity to say that it's him that wanted to leave. Could that be true? It could be, but I don't know. It's kind of, it smells like it that way. But I think Habs fans are happy with that. Haven't heard anything really about a replacement, not on an official thing. I've heard fans talking about Guy Boucher and about Kovalev, but I haven't heard anything official. But that rumor about Kovalev has kind of been out there for like a year, from what I remember. Anyway, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, I imagine Kovalev could be a possibility. Plus, having Kovalev here as power play coach in your, when you got Demidov coming, that might not be a bad idea at all, right? Okay, where was I? Am I now going to focus a little bit on the 2025 draft? No. I don't focus on the draft to be honest with you, till near the end of the season, because there's too much. I have too much to do, and I don't. Now, I learn a lot about them by that, at that point, and yeah, like this year's crop, I didn't learn much about anybody till the Habs season was over. So I can learn a lot in a short period of time, But to start now, that's too much. I leave that to other people who are prospect people. I leave that to them. I do know Alex on the other channel there, DPWM. Alex is he's kind of that Matt a bit prospects. So, excuse me. I don't know what I'm burping up because I didn't eat supper yet. I think it's just old age. Rather have Guy Lafleur's salary and live 30 years earlier in time. Well, I'd rather have lived 30 years earlier in time and have today's salaries personally. But hey, that's me. But I know what you're talking about. And yes, I'd rather not be living in all this garbage that's going on and be back in the 70s where life was easy. But I mean, I was a kid, so. But I get the sentiment. It's too bad we can't do shit like that. Some people have that Habs logo grown out of through their skin. It's so rooted in their family. I like to feel like, I bleed red, white, and blue. I always say that. Gomez made 7.3. Did he make 7.3 million back then? No, come on. That's astronomical. You sure about that? I know Gianta, who was brought in at the same time, he was signed 5 times 5. So 5 years, 5 million. I didn't realize Gomez. Now I know Gomez came in on a contract already signed by the Rangers, if I'm correct, right? And Glenn Sather. I would like Thomas Plekanec, assistant coach, but probably wouldn't happen. Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard anything like that, so I haven't heard his name involved in anything. That's insane that Gomez made that. Listen, in fairness, though, Gomez was a really good hockey player. And he had a decent first year here, but then it went downhill. What would the cost be if the Habs go after Rutger McGroarty? I mean, with the draft over, I don't know. The time to have picked him up would have been when you could have used that 26 pick back to Winnipeg. I'm sure they would have taken that. And something else. I don't know at this point. Hadn't thought about it. I don't know. What's the equivalent of that 26 pick on the roster? Or you give next year's picks, something from next year. It's supposed to be a good draft next year, too. I'm not sure why you're saying Slaf there, Leon. And don't say it would cost Slaf to get McGroarty. No. No. Why would you sign McGroarty? What you gonna do when Hage is ready for top 6? Sorry, kid, top 6 is filled. No, look, I don't think they're gonna go after McGroarty personally. And I don't disagree with you, right? Hage is a really good pick. They're gonna develop the kid. There's no doubt. And if he's the quality that he is, you might want McGroarty only because he's a couple of years farther on in development. That would be the only reason. I don't think the Habs are looking at it like that, though. Getting McGroarty now because he's a little bit ahead, why? They're not ready to contend yet. But when Hage could be ready, that could be when they are ready to start contending, right? So no, I don't think McGroarty would be in there. Personally, I don't think he's in their plans. Do I know this? I don't really, but I think it's a good guess. All we need is a free agent for 2-3 years max. But even that, maybe not, right? Joshua Roy could fill that role that's needed till Demidov gets here. Demidov's here in a year. Demidov, in his first year, is not playing third or fourth line. He's gonna, and I don't think he's gonna go to Laval. I think he's already better than that, potentially, especially after another year. So it's for a year, really. You might have to sign a free agent. You might have to give him 2 years to get him here, but they only really need him for a year, in my opinion. McGroarty would be expensive. I don't know about Doc, but McGroarty it would hurt. You like the players that are here. You're not going to get McGroarty for the bums. You're getting him for somebody really good. So, I don't really think that's something they should do. You can't keep changing your guys like that because, maybe that kid's better. You're never going to get to where you got to go. At some point, you got to, you develop your guys and you got to put them in and you got to run with that, for at least a little while. But always sidetracking like that, sidestepping, it doesn't work. You're never going to build a team. At some point, you're ready. These guys now need experience, trying to make the playoffs and then contending. That's the next part of development. Hey, Aki. Good evening, Aki. You were talking about Lafleur. How does Slaf? No, I asked why Slaf about Lafleur. I don't get it. I still don't get it. On July 1st, 2007, Gomez signed a $51.5 million 7-year contract with the New York Rangers. Yes, Glenn Sather. Horrible contract. And then he managed to somehow convince Bob Gainey that that's a good contract. You take it. And Bob, who, I love Bob Gainey, wasn't the best GM. And he took the deal. I mean, at the time, though, I have to admit, when I heard we got Scott Gomez, I was happy. I really was. Scott Gomez was a good hockey player. So, yeah, I was happy with that. So, have to admit. We got Gomez, Tom Pyatt, and Michael Busto. In exchange for Chris Higgins, Doug Janik, Ryan McDonough, and Pavel Valentenko. And really why was Ryan McDonough added into that? Like, why? He didn't have to be. Shouldn't have been. Gomez what were you saying? It was a terrible trade. He cost us McDonough. Yeah, no, it was a bad trade. And at the time, listen, I didn't, McDonough was a rookie, never played in Montreal yet. I was happy with Gomez. Was I stupid? 100%. I was stupid. I know that. He cost us Super Higgins. Listen, Higgins didn't pan out into a great player. Having too many top six forwards is a problem winners have. Of course. No, but you see, it's not about that though, right? I'm not saying it's about that. I'm saying a guy like Joshua Roy kind of needs that experience and that. So, like, you saw what I'm going to put it up again. What Hughes said. Just give me a second. Here. We won't do something for a short-term gain at the expense of our long-term plan. If we commit too long into the future to a free agent and end up blocking a young player from moving their way up, then we're doing a disservice to what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, that could be looked upon as saying even this season you might be doing a disservice to Joshua Roy if you put somebody in there as a free agent. Like, will they do it? I don't know. They might still. There's a lot of time left in the offseason. I'm not going to be able to get comments, Rick, if you're on these. Got to be on the comments, dude. What's wrong with you, man? At the time, Gomez was good. It's true. He was good because in his first year, I believe he got 54 points. Not horrible, right? So that was like the first year of the drop-off, I think. Or maybe there were some signs before, but not like, you didn't think the drop-off would be as bad as it was going to be. And Joel's right there, too. The Gomez trade did attract other players. Giunta literally said he came to Montreal, signed with Montreal to play with Gomez. Now, you're not a Giunta fan. You can say, well, it's even worse. But, I mean, Giunta came here to captain and play with Gomez. So, and maybe there was another player said the same thing. So, yeah, you're right. He played on the Trap Devils, but, I mean, he put up points. He put up decent points and scored. He was a good player. Brodeur was good, but if you're going to say great, I'm not going to agree with you totally. The team bought in no goals. No, Gomez scored. He did. Koivu was a bad pick? No, I don't agree with that. I'm not saying he's going to be a great player here that'll even play here, but I'm not going to say that's a bad pick. He has potential. He's got great pedigree. And I love the fact that they took him. They have a lot of depth right now on the prospect pool, David. They could afford to take some risks in their picks once they got past the first round. And I think that's what it's about, right? And I still love the pick. I don't disagree about Giunta. I was never the biggest Giunta fan. He was never going to be that 44 goal scorer like he was at one time with New Jersey. Small guy. Definitely a good leader, though. I think he was a good leader, but I don't know. That year they brought in like 5 new big kind of players, and I felt like I didn't know that team. It just felt a little foreign. Giunta's first year, even Giunta's 5 years. That was a team I never really connected with. Phil, once again, we're looking back, and hindsight is 2020. So yes, it's not that you're not right, but you got to think of it at the time, right? So Sheldon Surrey's slap shot or Weber's? Which slap shot is better? Sheldon Surrey's produced more goals in one season. 26, I believe. Set a power play scoring record for defensemen here, I believe. Which one did you not want to get hit by? Weber's. I'm not sure which one was more accurate, though. But Surrey's seemed to be more effective. Not that Weber didn't score goals with that, but I think Surrey's was more effective. Oh, there was more there was 5. Spacek. I don't remember the other 2, to be honest with you. It could be that Toronto guy I hate so much. Caberlet. Is that when Caberlet came in? No, Caberlet I think was here under the guy after or just before Bob. What's his name? Gauthier? I don't know. But there were 5 new players that just seemed like a new team, and I didn't connect with it. Camilleri. I was never the biggest Camilleri fan. I know it's weird, because I think it's at that time. But it can't be Camilleri because that was under Gauthier let him go. Was Gauthier here after Bob? I don't remember anymore. Jesus, what's wrong with me? Moen. Was it Moen? So Moen, Gomez, Giunta, Camilleri, and Spacek. Yaroslav Spacek. Mara, who's Mara? Why am I not? The name's familiar, and I don't know. For some reason. I was never a Camilleri fan, Phil. I just don't know. I just thought he's too small. Yeah, he could score. But, I mean, you're not going to get the most out. You could do better with a bigger player there that can score. Is there a new Weber on the hat? Jackie's got a hell of a shot. Yeah. More accurate, too. So you're saying it was Gomez, Giunta, Mara, Camilleri, and Moen. So Spacek wasn't then? Spacek came with Caberlet was later? Yeah. Paul Mara. I'm sure Spacek was in there. I always liked Patrick Roy, but when he got mad and wanted to be traded, lost all respect for him. Do you feel the same way? No, not at all. Not at all. Who I don't have respect for is the coach and the GM at the time, in Mario Tremblay and Régent Houle. They handled it wrong. So did Patrick Roy. I'll give you that. And he admits that. He overreacted. But they handled it wrong. They should have given him time to calm down and not trade him like that. But the truth of the matter is, Patrick Roy would have been traded before that ever happened by Serge Savard. So Serge Savard did not get fired that year. He was in the process of trading Patrick Roy. So, yeah, it was a situation. On July 1st, 2009, Spacek signed a 3-year contract. So Spacek was there too, so I'm right. I don't think Paul Mara was much of anything, so he may have been signed, but I wasn't even remembering Paul Mara. That's what happened. We got Spacek, and they traded him to get Caberlet. I thought Spacek wasn't bad here, honestly. I'm not saying he was great or anything. I thought he wasn't bad. And then they brought in that dog in Caberlet. Why do I call him a dog? Because he was pretty good in Toronto. And he killed Montreal every time we played Toronto. But he got to Montreal and couldn't do shit. He couldn't do shit here. And Spacek wasn't bad. I wouldn't say amazing, but he wasn't bad. He was bullied. Okay, I know what you're saying. He could be physically, yeah, but overall he wasn't bad. He was better than Coberly. We got Mara twice, yeah, but he's not really He's not memorable, really. That's decent money back than Spacek. I don't know. For some reason, then I liked Spacek when he was here. He's the only one really of those guys that I can't like. I was disappointed when they traded him. That's what I remember. What can I say? All right, well, we're getting to that time anyway. Close, not there yet, but sometime soon. James Wisniewski, you know, I thought so too. I thought he was pretty good here. And then I don't remember who they moved him for, but yeah, I thought Wisniewski was pretty good here. As a matter of fact, if I'm correct, on many nights he was the best offensive defenseman that we had. That's how I'm thinking of him. And you see, you guys, a lot of you guys in your age range, although I know Phil's older than I'm thinking here, but a lot of you guys seem to go back to an era where it wasn't a great era. And I think I have a lot of trouble remembering some of the players here. But then you guys bring them up and I remember. Hey, Tony. How's it going, Tony? You miss Emelin. He was not the greatest, but them hits. Yeah, Emelin could hit. You know, not the best defenseman, but yeah, memorable for those hits, definitely. We had Georges, man, not the best defenseman, but man, he made the most of whatever he had, and he'd go through a brick wall for this team. And a couple times it seemed like he did. Roman Hammerlick was pretty good. Hammerlick was pretty good. Good defenseman. I think more offensive than defensive, but he was pretty good, Hammerlick. The next great era, Tony, is almost here. Josh Georges deserved the captaincy. Wasn't that a time that Koivu was here? I don't see how you're going to give a captaincy to Georges over Koivu. Josh Georges was a dog in the shit blocking and defensive aspect. You mean shot blocking? Was a dog? I don't know if you mean that in a good or bad way, because my memory is, no, not the best defenseman, but a good shot blocker, and he'd get in front of anything, and very physical, tough guy. I thought, Georges was pretty damn good. And didn't we get isn't that Josh George? Is it the Josh Georges trade tree, or is it Craig Rivet the trade tree? Isn't Georges part of that? Anyway, I thought I liked Josh Georges. Again, he wasn't the best defenseman on the team. Had the biggest heart, though, probably. The Hammer was a bit bullied. I mean, didn't he? I mean, he had a lot of ice time, didn't he? He was a top pairing guy or a second pair. The guy, I don't remember that he was bullied like that. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Yeah, I think Ivan Demidov might get a lot of first stars there, Tony. Hey, BL, what's the topic of discussion? All kinds of things. Dev camp, draft, free agency, which we didn't really do anything except sign Slaf. But yeah, and we're nearing the end there, so another, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes to go. And again, whatever you want to talk about as well. Georges, and who was the albatross? Hal Gill. Yeah, Hal Gill was, am I wrong, was PK Subban's mentor? Hal Gill's problem, I think, was at a time where he wasn't a really good skater. And, like, you know, the fact that he had such a long career, I don't know. But at the time we had him, he wasn't a great skater. But, man, he was a great mentor for PK Subban at the time, I thought. Georges said, don't even try to send me to the laughs. I'm not going there. Respect to his teammates. It's another thing about Georges I love. He wouldn't accept a trade. No, he says, if you trade me to the Leafs, I'm retiring. I believe that's what he said. Hammer Click was indeed leaned on heavily. The Craig Rivet trade tree, right? Josh Georges is part of that. And a good part of that. We were looking for Amarkov. Well, what's that? Markov. Markov lost us 2-3 seasons. Markov had a knee or ankle injury, one of the two, kept him out. I thought his career was over. It took him 2-3 years to recover. And when he did, I don't know, it was shaky at first. And then, I mean, he went on to do some more great things. So, but Markov had honestly, 2 years. He lost 2 years to injury. 2 years in a row or 2 out of 3 years. I don't know what it was. A lot of time. High ankle. Was it the high ankle or 3 knee injuries? I don't know what it was. Whatever it was, kept him out for a long time. Career was probably going to be over, but no, he came back, and he came back great when he was fully recovered. Yeah, Phil, that's not what we're talking about. Georges went to Buffalo after Montreal, I think, from free agency. Or did we trade? I'm not sure. I think we traded him there. And he stayed there for a few years. Hal Gill had a big stick, no? Hal Gill's only problem as a hockey player was he has no fight, none, no sandpaper. He was smooth like glass. Yeah, I think you're right on that. He had very little. Wasn't the most physical for a guy that was 6'5", 6'7". Yeah. The Knicks trade to Toronto for Josh Georges included Johan Franzen. Is that who you're talking about? I don't remember who it was for. I just remember he said nope. Hal Gill was a Gumby skater, but a great teammate. Yes, he was. Skating was his problem, and when he came into the league, it was a little slower. There were stay-at-home defensemen that didn't have to skate much. By the time he got here, though, it was an issue, and he was just a great mentor for PK. Rick Rippon tore Hal Gill apart even being half his size. But I mean, Rippon was a fighter, wasn't he? Rest in peace, if I'm correct, for Rippon. Joel, yes, probably was knee injuries. I think it was knee injuries too. The reports BL saw said the Hage kid having a great dev camp. Yes. Well, as far as the camp itself, I don't know all the details there. At the scrimmage game yesterday, best player on the ice. Which, I mean, didn't include a bunch of guys, right? So but he had to, that's why even more so he needed to be the best player on the ice, and he was. Hey, Sean, how's it going? Not much new. Just, draft free agency only had them signing Slaf, so we all know about that. And no, it's not. We're just trying to catch up and talk about what's going on, which isn't that much, to be honest with you. At one point, what were we talking about? Crossing the border and passports and shit like that. And that's how much is going on. We say thanks to Matt Cook. Is that who tore up whose knee we're talking about now? Somebody's knee. Matt Cook was dirty as fuck player until the league totally cracked down on him, and they told him, one more suspension and we're gonna ban you from the league. And he turned his game around as far as he stopped most of the bullshit, most of it. And yet Matt Cook was a good hockey player, did not need to be a crazy lunatic, and yet he was. Anybody talking about the McLeod-Savoie deal? Not really, mostly because that's Edmonton and Buffalo, but you can talk about it if you want. I don't know a ton. I do know my opinion isn't as high as some people, I guess, on Savoie. Do I know a lot about Savoie? Not really. I don't know that I'm qualified to really talk about it. It's just a boring Saturday yap day. It is. I mean, it's just a regular Saturday night in the summer. Matt Cook severed Erik Karlsson's Achilles. That's who did it? Yeah, he was dirty as fuck. I mean, I don't say that lightly either. Matt Cook was worse than Tom Wilson. Markov's knee was due to Matt Cook? Yeah, okay, I didn't know that. Didn't he do it he had knee injuries 2 years in a row, wasn't? Am I wrong? Or it was so bad that it took that long to heal? I can't remember which, but it took 2 full seasons of Markov being gone. So, I remember those years. They're fuzzy a bit, but this kind of stuff brings it back. It's so hard to pin down what was what year, and that's the hard part for me. Wasn't that Chris Kunitz who did Erik Karlsson? You're saying? I don't know. I don't know who was the culprit there. I mean, an Achilles tendon. I mean, you could kind of tear that all on your own, can't you? I'm not going to read all that, Sean, but I'll tell you this. And it's not me coming out and saying this first, obviously, but I agree with the experts or the people that know better than me that when they say that the rebuild is basically done. Are they going to be a playoff team next year? No. We're still going to have a year, maybe 2 that are rough, but the rebuild, the pieces in place that need to be developed and all that, they're here now, basically, with not much missing, if anything. So, yeah, you're hearing my cat who just can't figure to push the door open so he cries. He's a crier. He's not being abused. He's not in pain. Just letting you know. Pretty sure if it was Cook who took out Markov. Yeah, I just don't know who it was. But likely, why not? He was horrible back then. Cook cut him with his skate. That seems to make... Was that what it was? Was a deep cut? cut the MCL or ACL. It was a horrible injury. And he didn't know that he'd be able to recover from it. That's why it took so long. Leon giving a prediction for next season, points-wise, for Montreal is what I think he's doing there. I agree with that. I would say I'd say 85 to 88 points in that area. And if they have a really good season, maybe hit 90. I don't think it's enough to get to the playoffs, though, but I think it's enough to make a run at it. But I think they'll have a drop-off and be somewhere around the 85, maybe even a little bit less, but in that area. Carlson switched to the Kevlar socks when he came back. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the Achilles tendon, it's a long recovery, too. It takes a while. And then didn't Carlson injure it a second time, which is really bad. It's hard to recover. But, I mean, he seems okay now. Am I right? He did it twice? And if I'm correct, once that's injured, it could get injured again. Peanut, everybody thinks I'm killing you over there. Jesus. My door is sort of closed, not all the way. He just has to put his nose on it. It would open. And he knows that. He likes to cry. Cats, right? Sometimes. All right. On that note, I think I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to go make my tacos. I'm making tacos tonight. It's late, I know, but I always eat late. But it's tacos on Tuesday. But I'm still having tacos. No matter what anybody wants to say about it. All right, so what's on schedule? I'm working on a Habs draft picks report card. So I'm going to give my grades. Yeah, come in. Exactly. Tried to push. Give my grades on that. I am working on it's going to be another week probably till it comes out. If you watch the Draft Hopes video that I put out, it was a compilation of everybody's hopes for the draft. Well, it's after the draft. I'm going to do one of those post-draft. So please look for that, but it's in the works right now. I think right after this, I'm going to be doing a long overdue Ivan Demidov video. So that's kind of in the works already. Just I put it aside for some reason. So that's what's coming out next from me. Unless something else hits me and go, oh yeah, or I write a poem, or I don't know. It's summertime. I feel very ungrounded in the summertime because I don't have that schedule, and I know it's weird. So doing the best. If you want to see something I'm doing tomorrow with Harry and Matt, that should be out probably by Tuesday on Harry's channel. We're doing another episode of Movie Talk, where we're going to do our favorite movies from books. So you can check that out on Harry's channel, Harry Rice Hockey. And then Monday is a podcast. So we're going to have a Pucking Around podcast on Monday. Because next week there's no podcast. Oops, excuse me. No podcast. Wednesday, though, Canadian Dad Complaints makes its second appearance. And we'll probably be doing that every second week for the summer. Wednesday, every second week, that, and the other weeks Have Normals records. I'm just trying to give you what's up on what's going on. But basically, yeah, we're going into summer mode. I hate it personally. I don't know what to do next week. I don't know what to do most of the nights. So hopefully that'll be good for making videos. That'd be great. We shall see. Let's see. Sean, I'm going to let you know as soon as that's sent out. I'm sorry. It might take a few more days, but I'll send you an email with a tracking number as soon as it's out. But yeah, I got both. Your son sent one, and I got yours. So I got your address. And that's gonna do it then. That's gonna do it. I'm gonna go and eat. Thanks everybody for being here. Appreciate it. yeah, we're in the quiet time for the season now. But I'll be around. I'll be doing things. Hopefully, you guys will continue to watch. And that's it. Till next time, stay safe out there. Peace out, guys, and have a great rest of Saturday night. There's still lots of time. It's only like 20 after 9, really early. Have a great one. Thanks for being here. Ciao, everybody.